Welcome back, Silver and Blue Nation. This is Mic'd Up with Jeff. Let's get into it, man. Javante Williams, Cowboys Inc. Javante Williams this past weekend, 24 million, 16 million guaranteed. How did you feel about that signing, them wrapping him up early, right before the NFL draft? It's a big deal. I think it's a big deal. Leave your comments in the comment section and, are you happy with the deal that Javante Williams received? That's 24 million for 3 years, 24 million, 16 million guaranteed. That's pretty. I think that's pretty solid contract, man. And I got kind of nervous in the beginning because he started he was going to switch his agent, and I was like, oh, here we go. But they end up getting the deal done, and right before the NFL draft, the Cowboys are doing things different. And that's, man, if you're a Cowboy fan, you should be happy about the way that they're doing business. It's just real business, no controversy, no Jerry Jones publicity stunts and distractions. They've just been quiet, and they've been about business. So you got Aubrey coming up. You got George Pickens. They didn't tag George in the beginning of the franchise tag period, which is a good thing, but I think they're going to have to tag him to get this deal done. And it's okay. Some Cowboy fans are like, oh man, they tagging him. Oh, they're going to string it along. I don't think they're going to string it along. They don't have the money available right now. They got to free up cap space. They can't really sign him right now. But he's looking to get about 30 million. I can see him getting 30 million. It's all about, at the end of the day, what George Pickens wants to do. I think he really wants to be in the Cowboys uniform, and I think the Cowboys want to retain George Pickens, man. This was the best season of his career, and working with Dak it's just sky's the limit. So I think they'll get it done, and if not, hey man, there's nothing wrong with getting tagged and getting 28 million for 1 year. Dak was tagged twice, and look how it panned out for him. But I think the Joneses are sincerely trying to get this deal done. So you got something to look forward to. But hey, let's talk about this draft, man. Let's get into this NFL draft. Now, we're about a month out from the draft, and they got the NFL Combine that's starting this week. And man, the NFL Combine is one of the biggest tryouts in all sports. Everybody loved the NFL Combine. They love the bench press. These guys coming in there bench pressing 225 50 times and running 4.1s and 4.240s. But do y'all think that the NFL draft is overrated? I'd like to hear your opinion on that, man. You got a lot of guys that had these measurables, these come in there and knock it out the frame and go on the top 10 picks of the NFL draft and then become underachievers in the NFL. Look at Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice, he didn't run a 4.2. He ran like a 4.7 40. And look how he's the all-time leading receiver in NFL history. Emmitt Smith, he ran a 4.6. And look at him, all-time leading rusher in NFL history. So let me know how you feel about the NFL Combine. You think it's overrated? Do you think it's a big deal? I'd like to hear your opinion on the NFL Combine. Let me know how y'all feel about the NFL Combine. But it's going to be interesting at this 12th pick and this 12th and 20th pick. And one thing that about the NFL draft, that it's a lot of smoke and mirrors leading up to this thing. And you can't really get caught up into that. You can't get really caught up into it. You hear all these draft gurus telling you, oh well, that's a reach and all that. You don't really know. You don't really know what a player is going to do if you take him in the top 15, I mean on the top 20, top 15. You just don't really know how he's going to pan out. Sometimes it's all about the system. A player might be a outstanding player, and get into a bad system, and he just don't flourish like expected. You got Mendoza going. He's projected to go. Fernando Mendoza's projected to go in the first pick of the draft, and he's going to the Raiders, and they might not be set up to have a Mendoza there. So that's the one thing about the NFL draft. You can't really get caught up in it. I remember some years back, I was at the draft, and Travis Frederick, the Cowboys was going to take him. Well, they did take him. They took him at the end of the first round. And I just remember sitting in that draft and all Cowboy fans, boo, 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 they're terrible. You're going to be a bust. He took him too high. He took him, and how did that turn out? When they took Travis Frederick, how did he turn out? He was a mauler and a baller. So you can't really get caught up in where they take players and stuff like that. But that 12th pick is going to be it's very interesting, man. It's very interesting what the Cowboys are going to do with that pick, because depending on what happens in that first round, the first 10 picks, I'm sorry, it could go either way. These guys coming to the combine. Now, one thing I would say, they come into the combine, these guys, and they have a good day. This order of picks that Mel Kiper and all these guys have, these projections, it could change. You get a guy that was projected like a second round or something, and he'll get into that top 10. You just never know with the NFL draft and the NFL combine. But what if what if I got a scenario for you? They just signed Javante Williams, right? And just think, I mean, just a hypothetical situation. What if Jeremiah Love is at 12? The star running back from Notre Dame. Are you taking Jeremiah Love, or are you going to take a corner? Are you going to pass on Jeremiah Love, or you taking a corner or a D-back at 12? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section, man, because this thing, it could shape that way. It could come out like that. And on these top picks, Jeremiah Love falls out of that top 10, and he right there at 12, man. You never know, because it can make you or break you. We seen this when Randy Moss fell to us some years back, and the Cowboys passed, and look what happened with Randy. Look what happened to the Cowboys after they passed on Randy Moss, and how he came back and fried the Cowboys year after year. You don't want those type of situations. I know everybody's saying linebacker, everybody's saying corner, everybody's saying safety, but sometimes the best available player, you got to go with that stud at the best available player, man. So it's just something to really think about, and hopefully you guys are paying attention to what's going on leading up to this draft, man. I personally, I hope they don't package these picks and go after a veteran. Everybody knows the veterans that's on the target, the Max Crosbys and then Trey Hendersons. I don't want you to package those two number ones. You got too many needs on that defensive side. If you're giving up one and maybe a later round pick or next year's pick, I could go for that. But just packing up, calling it a day with the first and second number one pick and just, packaging that up and giving it, I don't think, to me, Crosby is as dominating that he is. I don't think he's what the Cowboys, how could I say, packaging two number ones for him. I don't think that would be a good idea for the Cowboys right now. They need to get the value out of at least one of those picks. And so let me know your thoughts. Should they package him and trade him off for a vet, or should they just get some young guys or a combination? Let me know, Silver and Blue, on how you feel about these picks that's coming up. So, with that being said, you got Mendoza, you got Ty Simpson, you got Garrett Nussmeier and Carson Beck. These guys are the top quarterback prospects. It's not really a quarterback heavy draft this year. But I tell you, Cowboy Nation, you get a few of these guys. You get Ty Simpson, and you get Nussmeier and Carson Beck. They go in there and perform. Quarterback is the number one thing that these teams, the position that these teams are looking for. You get one of these guys to come in here and shine at that combine, man, it's going to throw the whole draft order off. And some of these guys are going to slide. Some of these guys that's on the radar, the Caleb Downs, the Baines and the Baileys, they're going to slide out of that first top 10 picks. And it just looks, it could be very lucrative for the Dallas Cowboys to pick up some of these guys. So let me know your thoughts. I just wanted to jump on. I wanted to talk about Javante. I thought that was so unexpected. I knew, you never know which way that it could go when you trying to retain these free agents, but they're starting to get the ball rolling, and I thought that was just a good transaction and something to look forward to as far as getting some of these veterans locked up. And George Pickens, is it going to be George Pickens? I don't think George Pickens is going to get that long-term deal right away. It might be towards the end of training camp when they lock him up, because they got to free up money. They don't have the money right now. And, until they start restructuring Dak, restructuring CD, restructuring Osa, you got a lot of guys that got to get restructured. But I was looking at a report where they could free up possibly $80 million in cap space to make these deals and sign these other free agents and wrap these guys up. So we'll see. And just a matter of time. But I hope y'all tune in and catch the NFL Combine, catch some of the players, particularly the linebackers and the defensive backs. I'll come back and we can talk about some of these prospects that possibly can change their draft stock during this combine. So that's all I got today. And I hope y'all have a good week. And till the next time, I am out of here.